Hi everyone, Nicholas Buffett here from sunny Cyprus and welcome to today's tutorial. This is the first of the 2025 papers. It is the March paper variation 2-1 and this tutorial is focusing on task 1 and task 2. Task 1 being setting up the evidence document, checking your files, and task 2 being the word processing component. Make sure to go look for the other tutorials which are focusing on the databases and the presentation with charts as well for this paper. Okay, so let's get started with task 1 and task 2. Okay, so the first part is we're going to be looking at the question paper. So if we scroll over here, we can see the first component is just make sure you've got a copy of all the files that you're supposed to have. So you need to make sure you've got all of these on your in a folder somewhere on your device. Next, it says task 1, we're going to be opening the file m2521 evidence.rtf, and we're going to make sure that our name and center number and candidate number will appear on every page of this document. It doesn't specifically say where, so we can just add that anywhere. Save this document in your work area as evidence, followed by your candidate number, for example, evidence 9999, evidence being all in capital letters. Okay, so let's just go and do that very quickly. I've got here my evidence document. Here it is here, M2521. I'm going to double click in the top section up here to go to the header. So you want 1271234 be my candidate number. And then I'm just going to save this in the same folder. So I'm going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to click on more options. It's just easier to make sure I'm saving everything in the right place. So here's my folder with all my files. I'm going to change that to a Word document. It has to be docx. I'm going to change this to evidence in capital letters and my candidate number there. Click on save and click OK. And if we look in the top left up here, we can see that our file name is correct, evidence1234.docx. And we're going to need that later on anyway. Okay, so now we can move on. We can now go to task 2. So task 2 is the document production. So it says here, using suitable software, open the file m2521 document.rtf. The page is already set to A4 portrait orientation with 2 centimeter margins. Do not make any changes to these. So we're not going to change anything. Just double check that everything is correct. 3 paragraph styles have already been created and 2 have been applied to the document. Do not make any changes to these unless instructed to do so. Save the document in your work area with the file name crops in capital letters. Make sure it is saved in the file format of the software you're using. So that'd be a document. Place in your evidence document a screenshot to show the file has been saved. Okay, so let's just go and begin with this now. So first step is I'm going to open M2521 document. There it is there. It's an RTF file. And the first thing I'm going to do the save part first. So I'm just going to go to File, Save As, go to More Options, change this to a docx, and then I'm just going to call that crops in capital letters. So I know I've done the saving. Just click on OK there. And before I create my evidence, I'm just going to check everything it said. So this is A4 portrait orientation. There we go. And we've got 2 centimeter margins. So I can go to, and if I wanted to make changes, I can go to my page layout, go to the layout section. And from here, I can just go and have a look at the page setup. Click on that there, and I can see I've got 2 centimeter margins as it said all around the page. It's portrait and the paper is A4. And this is where I will go to set up my document if I was asked to set it up. Okay, so that's all good. It said also I've got 3 styles already created. So we just click on here, we can see we've got the 3 styles, body, head, and table. So if I click anywhere in the body, we can see up here in the styles, the body is created. It said 2 styles have already been applied. So I can see the body's been applied. Let's have a look at the table section. Yep. So as soon as I click in the table, we can see the CR table here being selected. The head has not been added. So that looks good. That's all well and good. So I'm going to open up my files section now here. I'm going to find my crops. There it is there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a quick screenshot and put this in my evidence document. So I'm just going to take that bit like that. I only need the part where it says docx, the crops. In fact, I'm just going to modify this just a little bit. Watch. I'm just going to expand this here to make sure it says Microsoft Word document nice and clearly. I'm just going to take that screenshot again. I don't need all of them, just up to there. And I'm just going to add that now in my evidence. Now, again, I say this again and again, and people say, well, why do you use a black background? Do not use a black background. Black backgrounds, they don't print well. I just don't want to change all the settings on my computer. And that's basically the reason why. So I do suggest you don't use a black background. So don't use a dark theme. You can just make sure that your printouts look good. Okay, so that part's done. I'm just going to click on Control S on my keyboard to save that. That will save. And now I can continue with my document. So we've done that first part. Number 2, place in the footer of crops document your name, center number, and candidate number left aligned, automated page numbers right aligned. Okay, make sure that all alignments match the page margins. No other text is included in the footer area. The footer is displayed on all pages. Okay, so that's simple enough, but as always, I'm going to show you different things that you need to look out for. So I'm going to scroll to the bottom of one of these pages. I'm going to double click in the footer area, and that's going to open up my footer. Now, there's 2 ways that you can put items on different alignments. For example, one thing on the left and one thing on the right. If I was to put my details, as it says here, your name, center number, left aligned. I'm just going to copy that just in case that vanishes. Now, if from here, I now go to my page number and I try to add a page number, let's say bottom of page on the right, you will see my name vanishes because that object will replace absolutely everything. So there's 2 ways you can do this. The one way is you can write your details, click at the end of your, let's say your name here, and your details. And then from here at the top in the header and footer ribbon, as we can see here, you've got this insert alignment tab. And if I click on that, I can now say right, and that will shift my insertion tab to the right. You can see that right there. It's over here to the right now. Now I can go to my page number. I can go to current position. And if I click on this, it will place that there. Okay, perfect. The other way that you can do this is this. If you just go to, in your header section here, you go to your footer and you click on this one here with the 3 placeholders. So the one with the 3 placeholders here, you can now click in this one, enter your details, click over here. Let's delete that one. Add the page number in the current position again. There you go. But this here, this is where it says that no other text included in the footer area. So you need to delete that. If you leave that here where it says type here, you lose a mark. So that's how you would do this 2 ways. Whichever way is preferable to you, that's the one you're going to use. So there's my name and details on the left, page number on the right. I can double click in the text area in the body now to come out of there and just check that my footer is on every page. Perfect. So again, Control S to save. That saved my current progress. And now we can go over to the question paper. Alignments are within the page margins, no other text, and footer displayed on all pages. Okay, now I want to create and store the following style, basing it on the default or normal paragraph style. Now, CR subhead, that's what I'm going to be using, this one here. So I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm just going to copy that over, just to make it easier. So I'm going to create a new style, and I'm going to need to save this in my evidence document. So let's jump over and have a look at how we do this. So straight away, guys, we have to remember one thing. And I always tell you, whenever you're going to create new styles, be very, very careful. Wherever your insertion point is, so I've placed my insertion point now right at the very top, up here before the word global on the first line. Now, the reason why, as soon as I create my new style, it's going to apply the style to the paragraph that my insertion point is in automatically. So if my insertion point is somewhere in this paragraph, for example, as soon as I create my new style, it's going to apply the style to this whole paragraph. And the problem is some of you students, you don't realize that, or you think that's what's supposed to happen. It's not. Okay, so I'm going to place my insertion point at the top, and I do that. So what I'm doing, I'm saying to myself, I'm making a mental note. I've clicked on that first line, that very first paragraph, and I'm going to check and see what style is currently being used on this paragraph. And I can see up here, it's CR body. I know that because it's selected. It's got that black outline. Okay, now I'm going to create my style. As soon as I create it and it applies it to this here, I'm then going to change this back to CR body because I know what it should be currently. So I'm going to click on the little expansion tab here, the format tab for styles. Here are my styles. Just expand that a bit. I'm going to click on the plus sign to create a new style. The name of the style is going to be CR subhead. The style type is that it should be based on, I'm going to put no style, or you can say normal. I always use no style, which is basically the default style, but you can put normal if you want. Here where it says style for following paragraph, it says CR subhead. We can just leave that for now. This will automatically change, or it basically says what style should come after CR subhead. Well, I'm just going to leave that like that. It says the font style should be sans serif. Now, sans serif is an Arial font. It's the one without the little serifs. The font size should be 14. Left aligned. So there it is. That's left aligned. It should have bold and italic, single line spacing. So I'm going to go to my format. Now, this one here is single line spacing. You can use that, but I always like going to format paragraph and just making sure everything is correct here. So here's my line spacing. It's single. Space before it says 0, space after should be 10. So since I'm going to be checking that anyway, I might as well go to the paragraph settings. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure that everything that you have done can be seen in this window. Okay, and down here, this is where you see, for example, the space after is 10 points. Okay, line spacing is single. This is what the examiners are going to be looking for. But I cannot create my screenshot yet because up here it says create new style. I need to first click on OK. That has created the style CR subhead. Now I'm going to click on this and choose modify. And here up here in the title bar of this window, it says modify style. That means I have created the style. So you have to do that, otherwise you will lose the mark. So we're just going to take that screenshot there. And we're going to go, and what the examiners are looking for, guys, is basically this. So I'll just show you this here. They're looking for everything that you've selected in this section here. And they're looking for this area here, which has all the different other formats like the font style, the size, any enhancements. And most importantly, they're looking for that where it says modify style, not create. Okay, so I'm just going to go paste this in my evidence document here. Oh, I need to click on OK here. And then I can go to my other document. And that's in step 3. Now that's quite big. Now you don't want this too big, but you definitely don't want it too small. So if it's one or the other, make it too big. You want the examiners to be able to read everything that's there. Okay, perfect. Now we can see as soon as we created that CR subhead, it's actually applied that to that first line, that first paragraph. And that's what I was saying. You can see because I've created, my insertion point was there and I've created a new one, it's applied it automatically. So I know that this should be, or it was before I created, it was CR body. So I'm going to click on that up here. And can you see why I say it's so important that you make these mental notes so that you remember to go and change them, because that's something you could have missed easily. All right, so from here, we can now go back to our question paper. And we've got now number 4. Now, number 4 says the style name CR table has already been created and applied to the table in the document. Modify the CR table style. So only the following formatting is applied. Now, I get this question a lot. When it says only this formatting is applied, does that mean if there's anything else, I remove it? Yes. If it says to add the following to the style, then you will just add, you won't remove anything. But here it says, if there's any other features, any other enhancements, you need to remove them. Okay, so we need to be careful with that. So what I need to do here is I need to call it CR table. I'm just going to copy that so I don't have to type it out. Should be a serif font style. For serif, we use Times New Roman. The size is a 10-point font, center aligned, italic enhancement, single line spacing, and no spacing before or after the paragraph. So let's go and do that now. So I'm going to go to my styles section in the home ribbon again. I'm just going to expand this to see my styles manager from here. And I'm going to click on where I've got my table. I'm going to click on the little arrow next to that. I'm going to say modify. So here's my table. Now what I want to do is to check and see everything I have. First of all, it's got an Arial font. Arial is a sans serif font. So I'm going to change that to a Times New Roman font. And that is a serif font. The size should be 10. It should be center aligned. So I'm just going to click on that there for center aligned. Enhancement italic. Now you can see they don't have any other enhancements. So if there was bold or underline here, I would have to remove those. Single line spacing. So I'm just going to click here to go to the paragraph and see what I've got. There it is. It says here single line spacing, and before and after should be 0. And we can see the after is 6. I'm going to change that to 0 and click OK. All right. So I've removed everything else. There isn't any other enhancements here. I can see the sample. That looks okay. And I'm just going to click on OK to make sure that's saved. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on the modify. And I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Do I need a screenshot? Yes, I do. So again, I'm going to do this, new. Let's just copy that down. Put this in my evidence document. This is for oh, I need to click on OK here first. So this is evidence 4. Now it's not going to fit evidence 4 on the same page. So I'm just going to make that a bit smaller. But what I am going to do, and please do this, guys, don't leave the title evidence 4 on this page and have the screenshot on the next page. Just bring that down. You can either use a page break or press enter. That's absolutely fine. But please bring the titles with your evidence. It makes it so much easier for the examiners. All right, Control S to save. And I'm going to minimize that. And I'm just going to close that and Control S here as well to save my document up to that point. So we've done number 4. We go to number 5. Add the text by, the word by, so that's in bold, followed by a space and your name after the Global Corp report at the top of the document. For example, Global Corp report A candidate. Okay, and let's just look at number 6 as well. The style CR head has already been created and stored. Apply this style to the title Global Corp report and text you entered in step 5. All right, so let's go over here. I'm going to go here where it says Global Corp report. I'm going to put a space, put the word by. You don't make the word by in bold. The bold in the question was just to show you what it is you're going to enter. And then I want followed by a space and your name. Name after the title at the top of the report. And then it said I want to apply CR head. So I'm just going to click anywhere in this. I can select the whole thing or just click anywhere inside that paragraph. And I'm going to click on that. And that's now been formatted using CR head. Again, be very, very careful when you're working with styles. You're applying the right styles. Okay, Control S to save. Let's jump back. So we've done number 5 and number 6. We can go to number 7. Apply a bulleted list to the text from fungi all the way to the last one, the animals themselves. The bullets are aligned to the left margin. The list is in single line spacing with no space before or after each line. There is a 6-point space after the last item in the list. Okay, so here is my list. I can see it from here. So I'm just going to select this and I'm just going to put bullets. So from the home view, I'm going to click on bullets. Now we can see that it's aligned the bullets indented. Okay, so they're not on aligned with the left margin. So there's two ways you can modify this. First one, you can select all of this, and if you've got your ruler enabled at the top, you can enable your ruler by going to view and making sure you've got the ruler ticked. Okay, so that's unticked. If I click on the ruler, I can see my rulers, my horizontal and vertical ruler, and I've got this little tab here. Now I can move that all the way down to there. Let's just bring that there and bring all of that there so it's aligned. And this gets a little bit fiddly. Okay, so I'm just going to undo that. The easiest way to do this is this. So if I put my bullets back, I'm just going to go from here. I'm going to go to my paragraph here. And here it's got left indentation. I want that to be 0. Okay, and that's basically it. You see, there you go. Now, if I go back here, I also want no space or before or after each one. So I need to put the after to 0. Now, there's a couple of ways we're going to do the last one, but let's just do this to 0 so you can see what happens. Look at the space between each line as soon as I click on OK. You can see that space is now reduced down to 0 because it's single line spacing. But it does want a 6-point space after this last one. So they want a 6-point space between this line and the last item in the list. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either click this one inside the bullet, go to your paragraph and say after 6 points. And that's only going to adjust that last one. Have a look. You can see I've now got a 6-point space. Or if I undo, I can click anywhere in this paragraph, go to my paragraph dialog box here and just put before. I'm going to add 6 points. It doesn't matter. Okay, so you're either adding 6 points after this line or adding 6 points before this line. As long as you got this little gap, you're good. Control S to save, and let's jump over to the question paper. Number 8. Identify 6 subheadings in the document and apply the CR subhead you created in step 3 to each of these. Okay, let's go do that quickly. So I need to find 6 subheadings. Now you can do this all in one go, or you can just click on one and then just choose the right one that you want. So I want CR subhead. That's 1. Click in here, CR subhead. That's 2. 3, 4, 5, and there should be one more. Here it is here, 6. Okay, so there we go. I've applied the formatting to 6 subheadings. So that's number 8. Control S to save, and now we can jump to the question paper again. All right, number 9, select the subheading crop diversity and the following text up to and including the paragraph ending in plants in our meals. Okay, change the page layout so that only this text is displayed in 2 columns of equal width with a 2 centimeter space between the columns. So I want from crop diversity all the way up to the paragraph that ends in plants in our meals. Okay. So here's crop diversity. I'm just going to select that very first bit there. So that's the beginning. Or I can just place my insertion point at the beginning. And I want all the way up to plants in our meals. So that's going to be the end of a paragraph somewhere. There it is. Plants in our meals. I'm going to hold the shift button down. And while I'm holding the shift button down, I'm going to click at the end. So that's going to select the 2 points. The point where I clicked to say this is where my selection is going to start. And then I hold the shift button and click where I want it to end. Or you can just click and drag. So from here, I'm going to go to my layout. I'm going to go to columns. From here, I'm going to go more columns. I'm going to choose 2 columns and I'm going to increase the spacing to 2 centimeters. Now, if your computer is set up using inches and you don't know how to make it 2 centimeters, instead of changing the regional settings, you could just click in here, delete what's in there, type 2, put the letters cm, and it will force it to use centimeters. Now, it will display inches, in other words, 5 something, or what was it? If it's 2 centimeters, it'll be just under 0.9 something inches, but the distance is going to be correct, 2 centimeters. Okay, and there we go. So everything there is now 2 paragraphs in the part that I selected. Okay, so now we jump to the question paper. So we've done that. Now we're going to locate the table in the document. So is anything else? Change the page layout so that only this text is displayed 2 columns, 2 cents. So we've done that. Locate the table in the document. Insert a new row between the crop items, wheat and potatoes. Enter the following details. So I want that word there as 3%. So between wheat and potatoes. So if we zoom in here, here we go. So here is wheat. It's that one there, and here is potatoes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click inside potatoes, and from here, if I go to my table layout, I can insert row. Because I've clicked inside potatoes, I want to put a row above. So I'm going to go to insert row above. There we go, and I can put the word itself. I'm just going to right click and paste it as text, or you will type it out. Make sure you type it out correctly. And then here, I'm just going to copy this to make sure I get the right formatting, put that there and just change it to 3%. Okay, this just makes sure that, you know, the formatting and everything is correct, just like everything else. So that's been added. Control S to save. And now we go down to 11. We're going to apply a light grade between 20 and 40% background fill to rows 1 and 2. Format the first row of the table so that it becomes a single cell. That basically means we need to merge those cells. Format the table so that all text in each row displays on one line. That's important. 1 point black internal and external grid lines are displayed when printed. The table borders and all data fit within the column width. There is a 6-point space after the table. Okay. So we're going to do this step by step. The first one I'm going to do is I'm going to select these 2 rows here, and I want to merge them. So from here, you have your merge button. Where is it? Is it in table design? No, it should be here. Where is it? Text direction, merge cells. There it is there. Now you can also right click, and then from here you should be able to, let's have a look. Merge cell. So in the context menu, you've got the merge cells there. So that's applied everything in one row there. Now it said it has to fit within the column width. It does, but everything has to be on one line. And you can see all of this is 2 lines. So I'm just going to take my insertion point, put it in between the border here, and I'm just going to drag this over as small as I can make it. There you go. And that now has given enough space for that there to be on one line. So that's perfect. Good. So I've done that. The next thing is I want apply light gray between 20 and 40 to the fill rows 1 and 2. So I'm going to select that row and that row like that. And then from my table design, I'm going to use a shading. And if I leave my mouse rest, you can see here it gives up. So it says darker 25%. It wants between 20 and 40. So that's fine. The next one is darker 35%. I'm going to use that one, darker by 35%. There we go. And the last thing it wants is to make sure there are borders all the way around. So I need to select my whole table. I'm just going to click on that. And I'm going to go to my borders here, and I'm just going to use all borders, and that's going to put borders, the internal and the external, and that's absolutely fine. Everything fits. Oh, no, that's not on one line now. Can you see how it's changed a bit? So I need to drag, there we go. So everything is one line. Everything fits within the margins. The first 2 have got a shading between 20 and 40, and my borders are all visible when I print. Control S to save. Okay, the one thing I do see I've forgotten here is I need a 6-point space after the table. So I'm going to select this paragraph here, go to paragraph, and I want to put a 6-point space before. Click OK, and there you go. I've got my 6-point space there. All right, so that should be everything. Let me just double check everything with the table. Well, now that I've completed that, 20-40%, first 2 lines, everything is on one line within the line margins, and I've got a 6-point space afterwards. So that's perfect. So I'm just going to go Control S to save, jump over to my question paper. Number 12, it says you're going to import the image, that one there, and place it in the paragraph beginning, there are more than. Rotate the image 180 degrees so the stalk is in the bottom left corner. Format the image so that it is resized with width 2 centimeters and height 2 centimeters. It is aligned to the left column margin and top of the paragraph starting there are more than. The text wraps around the image. Okay, so because while I'm doing these tutorials, I generally forget about different little parts, like where I need to put the picture, left align, the right line. So I'm going to try and be a bit more careful this time. So I want the paragraph that begins with there are more than. So if I just click anywhere, press Control F and type there are more, and there you go, it's found the paragraph. It's the one right before the table. So I'm just going to click inside there and close that. I'm going to place my insertion point right at the beginning of that paragraph because that's where I want my picture to go. I'm going to go to Insert, Pictures, this device. It's in my folder. There's the picture there. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the size of the picture. So when you double click on the picture, it opens the picture format toolbar at the top. And here is my height. Now I can see the height and the width are both 7.5. So when I change this to 2 centimeters, that will also change to 2 centimeters. So I'm just going to put 2 space cm. Now again, if your device is showing inches, just delete everything, type 2 and put cm, and it will use the distance of 2 centimeters. It will display in inches, but that's fine. The distance, the size will be correct. Now if I click in the width, that's changed automatically because it's maintaining the aspect ratio. So there's my image. The next thing I want to do is to rotate this 180 degrees. So from my picture format toolbar, I've got my rotate button. I'm going to click on that and press rotate left 90 and then rotate left 90 again. That's 180. And there's the stalk on the bottom left corner. Perfect. So now I need to move this so it aligns with the top of this paragraph on the left. So I need to format the text wrapping. And I can either do that by clicking on the text wrap button here and choosing tight, or I can click on the text wrap button here next to the picture. When you select the picture, you've got that button there, and just choose the one here that's tight. Now that has placed everything where I want it. So there it is there. It's aligned to the top and the left of that margin. I've got my table. Everything looks good. Control S to save. And let's just double check I've done everything. So 180 degrees, 2 centimeters aligned. Perfect. 13. So now what we're going to do is we need to spell check and proofread the document. Make sure that the list and table are not split over 2 columns or pages. There are no widows or orphans. There are no blank pages. Original styles are maintained. Now, original styles are maintained. That basically means, you know, when we were creating the subhead, and I told you be careful where you put the insertion point, because as soon as you create the style, it's going to apply the style. So you need to change it back to what it was originally. Well, that's what a lot of students, they do a mistake on. They apply styles on parts of paragraphs which they shouldn't, and you just need to change that back. All styles are applied consistently. Spacing is consistent between all items. All right, let's go and check, see what we've got. So I'm going to zoom out. This is how I do a nice overview of my whole document to see if I've got any widows. So my list is fine. My table is not split over 2 columns or pages, and this is my list. But I do see here, I've got a widow there. Okay, so that's something I can work on. Not sure if that will be considered as an orphan or a widow because it's got more than a couple of words. But look, there's one way we can check this. So you can either move things down. So one thing you could do is I could take this sentence here. Okay, you can see where it says animal genes have been added to plants. So I can move that down. If I just scroll out so you can see how that's going to affect it. If I move that down by 1, that moves that up here, but that doesn't look too good either. So we've got a couple of options. I'm going to leave that one. I think that one's fine. If I click inside this paragraph, anywhere here, I go to the paragraph up here, go to line and page breaks. It's got here widow/orphan control. So if I click on that and click OK, can you see it's made a slight adjustment for that? But now I've got this here. So I can click in this paragraph and do the same and see what it comes up with. Okay, so it's added that there, and it says that's fine. And I think that is fine because it's not just one line or a few words, and that looks normal. Now, if you do want to bring a little bit more down, you can. For example, if I click here where it says seeds, if I bring this whole sentence down, so I'll just bring that there. If I bring all of that down, that kind of looks a bit better for me. And that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to go with. So this tool here, by selecting a paragraph and going to the paragraph options and going to line and page breaks, you can modify it so that it keeps, it manages your widow and orphan control. So if you're not sure if it's a widow or an orphan, you can use that feature and it will do it for you. But here where it did do it for me, and that would have been perfectly correct. I'm just a little bit of a perfectionist. I don't like just having a couple of words here, nothing in the other column because it's 2 columns. I brought that whole sentence down. And that just made it look a little bit better for me. So that's it. This is finished. We're going to print. We need to Control S to save that. And then you will go to File, Print. From here, you will check your print preview. Make sure everything is okay. You've got nothing which is out of place. No splits. Make sure all your subheadings are in the right place and they're intact. And good. Simply print and you're good to go. So that's that document, the first part, task 1 and task 2. So if you want to see the next part of this paper, if you go into my playlist, you're going to find the next part, which is databases. This one wasn't really a very hard paper. It was really kind of easy. There wasn't really that much. You had to pay a lot of attention to detail. Please be careful when you're creating styles, because when you are creating styles, the styles do apply to the text automatically. Use the widow and orphan control in the properties of the paragraph. The image wasn't that bad. And again, a lot of the questions I get from you guys is, mine displays in inches. How can I make it centimeters? Well, you can either change the regional settings of your device, or you can just type the number, the value, let's say 2 for 2 centimeters, and then type cm afterwards. It will display in inches, but the distances will be correct. And they don't care whether it displays in inches because they don't see that. They only get the printouts. All right, so for task 3, which is databases, you know what to do. Go to my playlist, find it. And while you're going there, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. And I see you in task 3. Take care. Bye-bye.